Hi there, welcome to today's video. I am setting up my bullet journal for November. I am Natasha of Natasha Miller Creates, and I am so excited to share this monthly setup with you. So for November, I took some shortcuts. Normally I like to hand draw my own elements. However, this month I decided to purchase some images, and then I made some changes to them through Adobe Illustrator. And then I also used Illustrator to do my normally hand-lettered cover page. I chose Forget the Mistake, Remember the Lesson. As I mentioned, I like to draw my own elements. I actually thought about stamping the entire layout this month. However, the typewriter stamps that I had were a little bit small and I wanted something a bit more bold. And so that's why I went with these graphics. I also decided to do something different with my tabs. I found this tab punch and I really wanted to give it a try. And so this month I decided I would use craft paper to do my tabs. The punch is okay. I thought it would punch out the two shapes, the two sides of the tab, and then you fold it in half and glue it. That was not the case. It did only do each individual tab, which is fine. It just meant I had to glue a little bit more. So lining the tabs up was actually easier than I realized. I didn't overlap my tabs, which you'll see later, because I wanted to reduce the bulk in my journal. That's probably my only issue with doing tabs this way, is that it does add a little bit more bulk to the journal. But since this will be my second to last setup in this journal, I decided I would give it a try because I'd only have to deal with the bulk for one more month. I'm also using some washi tape from the washi shop and some generic black grid washi that I found in my collection from somewhere, I'm not sure. But I really wanted to lean into this whole typewriter, but with the florals and then bits and pieces of dictionaries. The dictionary pages that you see me use is a dictionary from the thrift store. I have done some art with other pages of this dictionary, and so I really love the craft creamy paper of the dictionary and then tying in the craft paper from my Archer and Olive craft notepad. I think that's the most I've ever said the words dictionary and craft ever in a row. So I'm getting ready to finish up my cover page. I'm using my Tom Studio Lumos pen. The nib I'm using is the 0.8 size nib, which is the size that I like to use for drawing my outlines throughout my setup. I'm also trying to decide if I wanted to include the craft paper, but I thought having the craft paper in the top right hand corner kind of made it too much with the tab there as well, and so I decided not to use the craft paper behind the typewriter, and I'm really happy with my choice. For my stamping, I am using the Archer and Olive typewriter stamp set from the Attic Treasures collection, which was fall 2024. I thought it was super fun to have November stamped out like the keys of an old school typewriter. The stamp set is a softer acrylic, which I have a video coming out on that soon. And I actually liked the rough, imperfect effect that it gave the title, and so I was really happy with how it turned out. Now I'm moving on to my calendar page. I decided I wanted to tie in the craft paper by creating a notes section. So for the past almost year, I've been using the right-hand column of my calendar setup to make notes on a specific week, but I decided to forgo that this month, and instead I just have a generic notes column just to kind of capture anything that's coming up, particularly anything that's coming up in December. And as we all know, the holidays can be particularly busy, so it's going to be great to have that extra space. For my lines and my squares, my tick boxes, I am using the B5 journaling ruler, which they finally brought back as an everyday item. It was initially from a subscription box, which has been sold out. So now I can finally say that if you'd like to grab your own Archer and Olive B5 journaling stencil, they are available, or as at the time of this video, they are available for purchase. As always, I'm adding in my borders, which honestly, once you start adding borders, you cannot go back. It just, the page looks so empty without them. And here you see me going in with that craft paper notes portion that I was telling you about. And I'm using my cutting board for all of it. It's just quicker and you get a cleaner line. Honestly, you can use scissors. It's not a big deal at all. It's just what I prefer to use. I also realized that it's been a while since I've done calligraphy in my notebook, and so I thought this was a great theme to bring back my calligraphy. So while I did stamp some elements of the titles, I ended up doing calligraphy as my second font throughout my notebook. And it was fun. I'm happy to say that I'm not as rusty as I thought I was or thought I would be. So for my stamping ink, I am using the VersaFine pigment ink for fine details. If you're curious about stamping in your notebook, I do have a video about the different stamping inks that are available and what could work best in your journal. You can go check that out. I've linked that down below for you. That is part one of a stamping series I am looking at finishing before the end of the year. So definitely subscribe or sign up for notifications if stamping in your notebook is something you're curious about and want to try. Now, in terms of general life, I decided to get gel acrylic nails for the first time in my life. And my nails are longer than I'm used to. They're harder than I'm used to. And it actually took me less time than I thought it would to get used to it. It is harder to peel washi. I definitely had to rely on my tweezers in order to get the pieces of washi that I needed. It's been okay. I felt like such a goober because I asked for a specific nail polish color. I ended up going for nude base and then black dip on the ends of my nails, and it looks like dirty, dead zombie hands. Again, the nail tech gave me exactly what I asked for, so I felt bad asking him to change it, so I just ended up painting a gold glitter over top of my nails, and I thought it worked really well, and especially considering I did a stamping video and a ink video using ink and pens, and I ended up getting ink all over my hands, but my nails looked flawless because of the black ends of the nails that blended in with the ink. So I'm excited to go and get new colors on. I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to keep the gel acrylic or if I'm going to get rid of it. I don't know. When I look at the video, I don't like how my nails look, but I'm hoping that's just the color. So I might try a different color this next time around and then go from there. Thank you for listening to my first world problem when it comes to silly nails. So now I'm working on my monthly overview page. This is something that I've been doing since the beginning of the year. On this page, I include important dates for the month, my art licensing to-dos, my goals, and then just a little to-do list for the month as a whole. And on the right-hand side of the page, I leave space for doing work on my word of the year. Now, if you want to guess how often I've used this page, I'd be curious to hear your guess. I am embarrassed to say I've never used it. I'm contemplating going back and doing back work. So basically, every month there's a course, there's a lesson where you work on your word of the year and you familiarize yourself with it. This course is through Ellie Edwards. And I might do it by the week before the end of the year. My word of the year is courage. I have exhibited courage in some ways, but not in the ways I initially intended. So I guess that would have probably been more meaningful to me had I actually done the work throughout the year. But my courage was supposed to be to put myself out there and try new things. And while I didn't put myself out there in the way I initially meant to, but I've definitely said yes to things or jumped at opportunities when there were tiny little windows that were opened, especially in this last month. Like this last month has just been super busy and I want to say overwhelming, but it's actually been a lot of fun and really exciting. So yeah, it's been a good time. More on that later. It'll be coming out, I think, in the next month. So I will talk about that when that comes up. So I decided I didn't like my sticker placements, so I was fiddling with my stickers for quite a while, and then I just ended up putting them back where they initially were. I don't know. Normally I have a better idea of how I want the layouts to look and where I want the stickers to go. But this was honestly this was so fun. I always have fun setting up my bullet journal, but this was kind of fun in a different way. Like this is a theme that I've been wanting to try for a while, and I was kind of hung up on the execution. So to finally be able to get into it and do it was a lot of fun. So getting into my weekly setups, for my weeklies, I am channeling my inner Delphine's journal. She's this amazing creator over on Instagram. I've been following her forever. She's on the Art and Olive design team, so it's been so cool meeting her and getting to know her. And so I've always wanted to try this. I call it fussy. It's not that fussy, but it's just like fussily imperfect outline. We outline your boxes without using a ruler, and you like skip bits and pieces. And I just wanted to try it. And I thought this theme was absolutely perfect for that. And so I had a lot of fun. You'll see that my box measurements are off. I didn't realize how off they were until I started editing this video. Does it bother me looking back? No, mainly because the lines are imperfect, the stamping's kind of imperfect, and so it just works. Just like a typewriter, you don't always get clean letters or clean imprints from the letters. So yeah, no, I did like how it turned out. I was really happy with it. I'm including my daily boxes. So in my daily boxes, I usually put my meetings, events, appointments, activities for that day. And then on the right-hand side of the page, I have my to-do list and my habit tracker. Now, I've been failing my habit tracker in the last month. I ended up getting sick and I had bronchitis, and it was basically 3 weeks of coughing and misery, and so I wasn't really keeping up with the habits that I was tracking, but I'm hoping for November to get back into the discipline that I was exhibiting since July. So that is my goal for November, is to get back into my healthy eating and working out and drinking lots of water. I do apologize for my head popping in and out. There were some places where I just wanted to make sure that things were lined up. I also got my hair done with new highlights, so let's say that I was just trying to show off my hair when in actual fact I couldn't see properly and wanted to make sure things were lined up. So I'm super excited that I got November done in time. I actually had this done earlier than I meant to, or earlier than normal, and the biggest delay has been editing. I decided to try some batch working, and so I've just been editing videos for the last 2 days, and it's been exhausting, but I'm excited to get into November. I feel like that's always the case when I set up a month early, is that I love the month I'm in until the next month is set up, and then I want to be in that month. With that said, I am excited to set up November. I'm trying something a little bit different, and I did order it, so I'm waiting for it to arrive. It got stuck in customs for a little while, and so, there's still time, right? It's not even the end of October yet, but I'm really anxious to get it because I need to do some experimenting before I commit to that theme, and then I have to come up with a new theme, and if I'm going to hand draw my elements, I need time to get that done. I always feel like November is the calm before the storm. December is obviously the holiday season and it gets super busy. And then January, we have a ton of birthdays. Normally my husband and I will travel. And then February, we normally have a family vacation. And then this year, we've added swimming to the list. One of my sons is doing swimming, and we have a ton of swim meets in January and February. So yeah, it's November is definitely the calm before the storm. I do have quite a few things due for the end of October, so I'm feeling a little bit anxious about that. As I mentioned, it's an excited anxious, and I'm hoping it's just the start of what I've been inconsistently working towards all these years. It's definitely been slow. I'm still not where I want to be entirely, but it's getting there. And yes, I haven't been consistent, and I know all the business coaches are telling you to be consistent and post all the time and do all this. And yes, that stuff's important, and bowing to the algorithm, I can't bring myself to bow to an algorithm. It's not good for me mentally. I burn out so quickly. And so I feel like I'm in a healthier space now where I'm not as hard on myself, but then I also don't sink into like a black hole either, because I found, I wasn't being hard on myself for not meeting my deadlines, but I would get sad and upset and then kind of get into this depressive, well, what's the point state? And I'm in a much healthier place now. Like, okay, yes, I'm not getting out what I want to get out, but I'd rather get quality content out than just push something out for the sake of the algorithm. So we'll see how that goes. I have a ton of ideas, and like I mentioned, I am batch working right now. So I've been in editing hell for the last few days. It was really fun when I was creating, don't get me wrong, but yeah, editing is not my favorite thing to do. So yeah, I'm batch working. I have a ton of ideas that I just need to get done, and I'm excited to share that content with you. So in terms of my weekly setups, I decided that I liked having what the date was next to the box. So even though I have the little calendar, I liked having what the day was. So for the setup, I used the black circle and then a white paint pen to go in and write the actual date. And I really love how that turned out. And then it's also a focal point, so I can see right away what the date is or what date I'm looking for, which, yes, I love aesthetics, but let's be serious. When it comes to a planner, there are just parts of it that have to be absolutely practical and functional. And that's it for me. I'm setting up my final page, which is my month in review page. I write down my biggest accomplishment, other wins that I had in the month, how I feel, how I'm celebrating, and then what I want my focus to be for the next month. I've been setting this page up the whole year. I've not used it consistently. That's definitely something I want to work on going into 2025. This will come with me into 2025. I haven't decided what I'm leaving yet. Oh, I'm leaving my word of the year space to do work on my word of the year. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. But anyways, this page will be coming in with me. And yeah, I hope to use it more. On the right-hand side, I leave that page open to do memory keeping. I have used that about the same amount as I've used my word of the year space. So yeah, which is to say not at all. So here I made a big issue or a big error. I meant to use my gray Tombow to highlight the line, and instead I grabbed the black one. So I'm just grabbing a piece of white paper. So I cut 2 squares off of the end of my page in order to put my tabs in, and I just grabbed some of that white paper that got left over and glued it down. And then the white paint pen was picking up the black ink underneath because the ink hadn't had time to dry properly yet. So I actually just grabbed a whiteout pen. I don't like using whiteout in my journal, but man alive, did that work well. So that's what you saw me fix there. And then I had a super lapse in judgment and thought it would be fun to go in and add dots to the lines. So I actually went back throughout the entire setup and added dots to all my lines. So you'll see that when I do my flip through. At the time, it was a bit rough after a while, but looking at it as a whole, I love it so much. I am so happy with this setup. I can't wait to start using it, even though I know I'm like already thinking ahead to December, but I am excited to start using this setup. I'm also starting to look ahead to my 2025 bullet journal setup. I don't even know what notebook I want to use yet. I guess that's the biggest problem with having so many options. I loved being in my Wonderstruck notebook. I actually have another Wonderstruck notebook, but I'm not going to use another Wonderstruck. I want to use a different one. So we'll see. I'm torn between a fall 2024 notebook or a notebook from winter 2023. I meant to use my Denim and Daisies notebook for my second half of 2024, but then I really loved the Wonderstruck and wanted to use that instead. So here is my flip through. As you can see, I went in and added dots to every line, and I actually think it finishes it off quite nicely. I ended up having to order another grey pen because my grey Tombow is dying. So looking forward to getting that and seeing what those look like. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're interested in more journal content, you can check out one of these two videos, and I will see you over there.